the more interesting thing is we haven't heard any word on the decline about Wildcat's biggest shareholder, MinRes's intentions with respect to the raise, who was recently welcomed, and I'll say that in inverted quotation marks.
They were welcomed, and then they voted. They ultimately voted against the issue of options.
Right, g'day money miners, 9th of November, and haven't we got a bloody surprise today besides the riveting mining news, Trav? Ali GC is back in the house.
Back in the house.
Oh, she's been in the house, but like back on the reminded herself how much she bloody knows about finance and kind of be a key contributor to today's episode. GC, thanks for showing up on this side.
No, thank you. I mean, we've got some exciting stuff today, Matty, so keen to get into it.
Righto, let's rip into it. So we've got a bit of a preamble on the upcoming AGMs, which are usually held at the CWA, aren't they? So scones, jam and cream on offer, but possibly in addition to those beautiful scones, there might be some juicy content coming out of the AGM as well.
Maybe some shareholder activism, Trav.
Yeah, we
Hope so.
Oh, yeah.
Last general meeting we attended, we bloody. Ooh.
I think you love activism as much as I love vaping. I'd say, Trav, that's probably on par, eh?
I need to get my fix.
Mate, we've also got old Wildcat shaking the tin today for 80 million bricks. And that's going to be interesting to see what happens after that. And we've also got a bit of news on our great dear friends of the show, Sayona, and a bit of rapid fire to finish off. Exciting to have you here, Ali GC. And, mate, money of mine people, the event, all this little
Stop
extra stuff. Stop
asking me for tickets. There isn't any tickets left. There's no hats left. There's no tickets left.
Mate, would like to thank Ali because all this stuff, all this cream that's been putting on top of Money of Mine these days is all coming from her.
Oh,
so
thanks, mate.
The absolute elevation in the podcast, you've been pretty much the reason for it, I reckon.
Oh, thanks, mate.
Did you use the word elevation there to intentionally segue to the next thing, Matty?
What a perfect way to introduce our partners at Brooks Airways, Trav. Oh, Trav. Mate, I know, I'm doing sponsorship, you're doing research. Don't try and compete with me on it because you know you can't be, you want to be the best at everything.
I'm picking up on the segues. I'm like, you don't normally use the word elevation. There's something going on here.
I don't even think that was the right word to use. But, mate, they just partnered up with us this week. Brooks Airways, you might know them for their the brand for the big machinery hire things that you see pretty much in every industrial area in bloody Western Australia. But they've also got Brooks Airways. And, mate, before we get into it, fun statistic for you and the money miners.
I'd love to know.
Do you know that statistically more planes have taken off than landed in history?
Wow.
That makes sense, statistically speaking.
And it is a great little fact to share when you're on a plane with someone and they're having a bit of a panic attack because they don't like flying. So I like to say, no, mate, to my knowledge, and I can pretty much put a rubber stamp on this, Brooks Airways have achieved 100% landing rate.
Very impressive.
Brilliant.
100%. They're beating the global average.
That's phenomenal.
That is phenomenal, mate. It's spearheaded by Stewie Brooks. We'll chuck a photo of the big fella up here, mate. This guy's an absolute aeronautical prodigy, mate. He was working on planes when he was 13. Can you imagine being on a plane and looking some 13-year-old turning spanners and then just giving you the thumbs up? Yeah, she's good to go, mate.
It's like the Tiger Woods of aeronautical profession.
He comes across that way. So now, and I've actually come across this video. I think this guy is a bit of and it relates to the aviation industry. I think he's a bit of a long distance relative of Stewie or something. Have a look at this.
Baba is launching an unbelievable transatlantic deal.
Today, I announce the launch of the Fly Low 1 pound flight to New York. Yes, you heard that.
That's Stewie.
1 pound to New York City.
Any small booking fee of 480 pounds.
Omar Baba.
What did he say? £450 booking fee. Mate, I can tell you no unexpected booking fees at Brooks Airways. But say, right, Brooks, mate. 7 turboprop King Airs. Have a look at the fine piece of machinery. Have a look at them.
Wow.
Wow.
What a
look
bloody
at that.
paint job they've got. And look at the interior decor, absolutely beautiful. Now, I've been told turboprops, safety record globally, they've got 2 engines, so that's a plus. Well, that's extra, nothing like a good bit of redundancy.
You want a bit of backup.
Much less moving parts than a piston plane. They're considered to be the Toyota 200 Series Land Cruiser of the air.
Just go forever.
By reputation. So perfect plane to fly into unsealed airstrips within the WA mining industry because as we know, most mining clients are too tight to put bitumen down. So that's where like Brooks are leveraging off the tight assness of these mining companies. So look, and here's the thing I like. They own the planes. They employ the pilots.
Yep.
And they maintain them internally because if I wanted like attention to detail to be put towards anything that my life is involved in, I'd probably want it on the planes.
Is it Stewie himself, dialing back the clock a little bit?
I'd say he's met like from his teenage aeronautical maintenance years. I think he's like mentoring the next generation.
Love that.
Of, like aeronautical engineers, which would be the wise thing to do to sort of pass the baton on
To the next generation.
to the next generation of Brooks aeronautical engineers. So, mate, because no one treats someone else's thing as good as they treat their own.
Absolutely.
And I like that attention, that sort of Sigma 6 level of attention to detail to aeronautical maintenance. And just to top it off, have a look at this. You can even sit down in their terminal.
Oh, look at this.
You
mate.
don't have to sit out the front
Very
and
schmick.
chug on a dart while the bloody plane rocks up.
Wow.
So it's like, look at that. So money miners, any money miners that write the checks out there, call 1300 Airways to hire a plane. And, mate, as we said, these planes can pretty much land on the shittest runway in WA. So if you've got a real shit runway, call Brooks.
Yeah. Or if
They
you're
will
pissed
get
off at
people on it.
Qantas' stupid prices, call Brooks.
Call Stewie.
Call Stewie. Mate, you want to get to Cal a bit cheaper? Can't say it might happen, but call 1300 Airways. if you want to find out if you can. Now, our other great friends, and I'm going to their little cocktail party this afternoon. Got my bloody suit hanging off the light here.
You walked in with a blazer and a YD little like case. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I know. Well,
I didn't even know you owned one of them.
I googled cocktail party and it had heaps of people in bloody fancy suits and shit. I'm like, right, I better bring me suit in. So I've got to go hop in the telephone box and put me bloody put the suit on after this.
You're still not going to look as good in your suit as these two guys, though.
Have a look at these good-looking roosters.
Jeez.
Michael and Zav from JP Search, the search gurus. I would call them the Google of the financial recruitment industry.
When you need something, you just
type in
ask.
worker and like you just get a result.
Yeah.
Like it's like Google, probably even a bit quicker.
Yeah.
Now, look,
I like the idea of them being more like ChatGPT. Does the work for you?
but updated daily.
Yeah.
You know, ChatGPT
Yeah.
sort of going off still 2021
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not if you
JP
pay.
Search is sort of the next level of financial AI recruitment. And like, because you look at him, we talked about Bondi yesterday in his photo. You look at these guys, like doesn't that feel welcoming? Like, what do you take from that picture of those two?
Fills me with confidence.
It does fill you with confidence, isn't it?
It feels like they know the best jobs for me
Yeah.
before I know myself.
Well, then I found that like another recruiter, and this is what this recruiter here says is sort of how these guys make me feel.
Well, I think the difference between a good recruiter and a bad recruiter is probably patience. I stay calm no matter what.
That picture reeks calmness of me.
Do you think?
To Michael and Zav. Calm
Patience?
individuals. Patience, calmness, execution.
Yeah.
Mate, so we're going into, let's bring out the classifieds, is what they say. Like, it's like the trading post off the castle.
Yeah.
This is what they got on the go, mate. Now, they've actually got a job going at Alcoa, global strategy role. So they're looking for like ex-management consultants. It's Perth-based. You don't have to drive to bloody Pinjarra. You're not on site in high vis all day. So that's a win. Now, they've also got BD analysts or senior roles, 150 to 170 plus super. Not bad. So you can filter through these, tell me which ones you like. Looking for Big Four M&A experience in there. Boutique
very
investment
good.
bankers, investment analysts, 130 to 180. Geez, you want to barter that 180. Again, Big Four M&A.
I love when they give you a range, right? It's
Yeah.
like, well, fuck
I
it.
want the
I'm not
top
gonna.
one.
I want the top one.
Another investment analyst. Look, BD analyst or senior, 130, 150 plus super. Now, this is the one I like. This is a bit of left field. Head of accounting. But you know why I like it?
It's a big bloody company.
Circa 300 plus super. Now we're talking, boys.
You're gonna have to learn some accounting skills, mate. Do you know how to read a balance sheet?
Oh, no.
Debits and your credits.
Hey, how good am I to have in the office, but like
Morale.
I can run their sponsorship for them, mate. So pretty much for all those roles, Big Four M&A experience, working for family offices, investment banking background. If you're in any of those roles, look for a change. I've got their LinkedIn LinkedIn pages linked in the show notes. Just click on there, message them. And
Get into their DMs
If you
and get yourself a
hit
job.
up the Google financial recruitment artificial intelligence gurus.
Tell 'em.
Anything in that finance niche.
Tell them they look good.
Tell them they look good. Tell them they're patient. Righto, lovely. Thanks, JP Search and Brooks Airways for supporting the bloody potty. Love your work. Now, Trav, just on reflection of your little deep dive into Maya Resources yesterday, one little key thing that popped up to my attention.
How did you become aware of this one, Matty?
Oh, someone actually messaged it to me because I bloody see this is all the attention's on the sponsorship, and I didn't look through the corporate directory. Do you know who this bloke is?
I didn't until you told me today.
This
You could have showed me that photo and I'd
And it
be like
makes sense
James
why-
Bond. I don't know.
It makes sense why I saw him bloody walking out of IMARC. Darren Lockyer, one of the greatest rugby league players of all time, is on as not an ambassador. I think forget
he
the
business
actual title,
development?
managing affairs for Maya Resources, because PNG is one of the most rugby league fanatical countries in the world. They're absolutely
go.
fanatical. So he's working with Maya to obviously for the community side of things.
Head of business affairs. Wow.
Head of business affairs. So, mate, there you go. I'm not even, no, and that's where Money in Mine's got to. I don't even know if I'd have a celebrity on to come talk their own company.
I was just thinking, mate, how the tables have turned, right? Like, I'm sure Darren Lockyer is watching this episode, and
Well, he's a
and-
Queenslander and I'm a New South Welshman, so I probably wouldn't have him on anyway.
yeah, but he'd be watching this, and he'd be looking up to you as a celebrity now, mate.
Yeah, he'd probably call me soon. Him and a heap of other Queensland people ruined my life for a decade in the state of origin. So, yeah,
It'll all
no
turn.
favours coming from me, Lockie. right, crew, what's going on?
I can't
It's
believe it,
November.
but it's November, and it's that time of the year where corporate Australia really starts to gear up for AGM or annual general meeting season, and I love it. And money of mine, the corporate calendar is looking very chock-a-block with a lot of the very hotly anticipated AGMs of the season.
Yeah, the November AGM season, our calendar's chock-a-block, but our Christmas party calendar is not looking chock-a-block, Ali. I'm still waiting for those invitations to roll in.
Oh, I don't want them. Bloody too much socialising in your life these days. Yeah. JD will fly the flag for us.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be
He
fine
loves
with
that
it.
shit.
Yeah. And so I think probably in the next couple of weeks we might do a roaming BT style AGM bonanza episode or something. So keep an eye out for that, money miners. But guys, the thing I love about AGM season is seeing all these boomers come out of hibernation, and because they've got so much spare time, they go drive themselves around West Perth, CBD, Subiaco to physically attend these AGMs of companies that they hold shares in.
It's like the bloody grey nomads, isn't it?
Oh, it is. And I would have thought by now, like the Australian Shareholders Association, something like that, would have some sort of cat bus or party bus type arrangement to take them all around everywhere. So we're waiting to hear. ASA would be keen to see it.
Ali, have you looked at the proportion of our audience that is above the age of 60? There's a few of them.
There's a few of them.
So before we bloody tell them they need to be in a retirement home.
Sorry, boomers. But I have to say, as a young investment banker, one of the absolute highlights of my career is going to a really good AGM. And what is a good AGM? It's when you get one of those really old grandmas or grandpas raise their walking stick when the chair says, "Any questions, anybody?" And they stand up, they shake their fists like Grandpa Simpson and absolutely give the MD an earful about what they think about the company and them, and it is democracy at its finest.
Yeah.
I just bloody love it. But
Oh, God, I need to see that.
Big believer in the in-person AGM because, when else can you actually do that, right?
No, what other time of the year do you have an opportunity to go face-to-face with the person who's running the whole joint? It's awesome.
If the company you're invested in is only doing a virtual AGM,
Boo.
those shares suck.
But the other key thing about this time of year as well, or November, or even you stretching out to maybe the first week of December, if you're an ASX listed company and you want to get an important deal done and announced before Christmas, you've got 4 weeks left to do it. I mean, technically there's 6 weeks till Christmas, but anyone who's important, like money of mine, won't give a shit if it's after the 8th of December.
We're in that final week of Money of Mine's just going to be highlight videos.
Yeah.
We're in
basically.
Awards.
Awards.
And we'll be emptying that fridge behind us. So it's like, that's going to be
Absolutely.
fun.
That will be fun.
That's going to be an Uber every day, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
You might want to work 5 days a week that week.
Yeah, that might be a good one to do.
Right, let's get on to the old Crazy Feline. Wildcat WC8 absolutely shaking the crap out of the tin today for 80 million bricks to fund further exploration and a few other little key line items that I'm sure you're going to go into. Take it away,
Yeah, so
gurus.
the Wildcat went into trading halt today pending a capital raising. Interestingly, the details or the key details of the raising were actually on the second page of the trading halt announcement. We'll just flash up a little screen grab there. You don't normally see that in a release, so that was quite interesting there.
Well, not in the last 6 months that I've been looking at announcements every day for a podcast, but yeah.
It is, yeah, certainly on the more unusual side, but good to know. So what does that say? It's an 80 million placement, 76 cents per share with the ability to accept overs of up to an additional 20 million, and the JLMs Canaccord and Euros Hartleys on this one. So Wildcat had just shy of 9 mil in the bank at the end of September, so assuming they do take the overs, which I imagine they probably would, you'll have a pre-resource lithium exploration company with over $100 million in the bank. Wow.
Geez, nice and exploration bulletproof there.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. So 76 cents a share, that's all very sort of within the standard 10 to 15% discounts to pricing metrics we see all the time.
Ellie, I'm curious on that structuring there. I mean, you're an absolute ECM guru. I don't know anyone your age that's like literally, spearheaded more ECM transactions than you.
It's the only reason you got a job here, Alex. Strict filtering process we went through.
So like the structure at 80 plus 20 mil overs, like why do you structure it that way?
Yeah, so more often than not, there's 2 reasons you do it that way. The first reason is that base number, so in this example, the 80 million, that's what you need / want. And you're pretty confident that you're going to get there, but you include that and ability to take overs, sort of comment or clause in, just to give yourself the flexibility to take some more money or upsize the deal if required or if you want to. And a lot of that is dependent on the volume of bids that come in the book, but probably more importantly, the quality of bids that come through and trying to, accommodate long only on institutions and things like that.
If they take the overs, so if it goes in at 98 or whatever total bid size, so there's still no scale back or anything. Everyone should get a full allocation, or
it depends what they want to rate. If they just keep it at 80 and they pare it back to 80 still, if they get 300 million in bids and they pare it back to 100, it all really depends where.
Can they
falls at.
get like that much interest in something
Oh,
like
shit,
this?
yeah.
Like
If
so you can
there's-
get 300 million in
You
bids.
could get multiple times coverage in bids come through, but ultimately you don't have to obviously allocate those. But yeah, and that's certainly a quality problem to have. But the second reason, which why you perhaps structure in that way, is you absolutely know you're going to get way over $100 million worth of bids and knocked over in the rush, but you structure it in parts because then you can say we took the oversubscriptions and you look really, really smart. And I think given the demand for lithium and particularly this company, I think Wildcat probably falls in the latter
and
category.
this region. Yeah.
And this region in more generally.
So
But
it could be an optics thing. You just
very much, more of a strategic optics thing. So that's usually the two reasons why you do it in that way.
If they didn't have that 20 million overs noted in there, they're capped at 80 and doesn't matter what comes in, you have to scale the book back and you cannot take more than 80. How does it work?
More often than not, you'd usually stick to that, but there's nothing other than really your place capacity and the optics that you can actually go out and take more, but you have to go and reach out back to those investors, say, look, we would like to upsize to X. Are you okay to still have your bid in the book on these revised terms? So it's just easier this way because you've already flagged that to prospective investors that you might do that.
Is that placement capacity, does that reset at the end of each financial year?
So the 15%, which is your listing rule 7.1, that refreshes annually. And then your 10%, 7.1A, you approve that at your AGM every year and it lasts for 12 months.
Is it calendar year or financial year when it resets?
the AGM calendar.
The AGM,
AGM calendar.
Yeah, so that could
Okay.
be different for everybody, really.
You can also ratify it at general meetings as they come around too. Yeah. I've got a fun fact for you on that placement capacity stuff. Matty relates to Ali. You know
I think I know this.
You know the story.
I know this story.
So back when I was a little ticker-tacker in my first, few months investment banking, I was put on my first ever ECM deal to raise money for a certain mining company. And I blame Ali for not enough oversight on this one. But I basically accepted bids from more people than you were legally allowed to issue stock for because the company's placement capacity, the extra little
Didn't
bit, the
cover it.
7.1A, had expired because the AGM was postponed because of COVID. So that was an awkward thing to have to restructure a deal.
That was a carton.
That was definitely a carton.
Or two.
Oh, very good. So what else can we sort of take out of this placement structure, GC?
Yeah, so you can sort of look at how it's been structured as a single tranche placement. So that's essentially when you're using your placement capacity, whether that be your 7.1 and 7.1A. I think in this scenario it's just the 7.1. Why do we actually care? This can sort of give you a little bit of a hint on potential placement participants. So directors of a company can't participate in its own placement unless their participation is approved by shareholders. Now, based on the placement structure as we understand it, it doesn't appear that Wildcat directors will be participating in that round, but we will have to wait until we see the placement completion announcement to know for sure. But at first glance, doesn't appear that way.
So does that have to be, are you saying they have to issue the second tranche of shares that have to be shareholder approved for the directors to participate in them, or they have to, if they want to participate in the 7.1, they have to have that shareholder approved?
It's just essentially any
participation
participation.
at all.
Their participation wouldn't use up that capacity. It's just any participation by directors would need to be approved by
And
shareholders.
that's where we see those notice of general meeting or whatever is
Yes.
for the purpose for shareholders to approve things like that.
Yeah.
That's right.
Fuck's handy having her here, eh,
Very
Trav?
handy.
Tell you what.
And then, but the other thing, which is probably the more interesting thing, is we haven't heard any word on the decline about Wildcat's biggest shareholder, MinRes's intentions with respect to the raise, who was recently welcomed, and I'll say that in inverted quotation marks, as their newest, largest shareholder, holding just shy of 19.9% of Wildcat pre-raise.
And they were welcomed. And then they voted. They ultimately voted against the issue of options to Alex Hewlett. Yeah, in that notice of meeting.
The finder's fee.
Yes,
Yeah.
or introduction fee.
Yeah.
I think it would make sense for Chris to maintain his position
Pro rata.
here. He's pro rata. So be interesting to see what colour we get given on that once the placement does wrap up. So
God, if you add up,
Yeah.
if you add up Min Resins and Gina's 20% stakes in everything, they pretty much own 2 or 3 lithium companies, probably.
I was going to say, remember the other day we were talking about the bonds, the US $1.1 billion bonds?
Oh, not Jeremy Bond.
No.
Not the
I want
other
to the
bond.
numbers on how much of that's actually now been deployed in.
With all the
this stuff.
shareholdings and everything, a bit
Yeah.
of dribs and drabs.
Yeah.
They're right. So 80 to 100 million. They're essentially bulletproofing them for a while.
Yeah,
Like, look,
no,
if you
that's
put
right.
it in, let's put it in comparison. Like you think of Spartan when Gascoigne, when they recapped, I think they had about 60 million in the kitty, and they've, what have they got, like 5 or 6 drill rigs going?
Just
so
flying,
80 to 100 million worth of exploration to pump in. They're going to have a lot of rigs spinning up there.
Yeah. The key thing I want to call out is, according to Street Talk, there's a mention of, it was one of the use of funds, drilling, exploration, resource development and business development at Tabba Tabba.
Business development, Matty.
Is that catching up with me at Mayfair for a beer or something like that?
I think other people have different uses of the word business development, but you never know, mate. Exploration
Yeah.
companies do.
Yeah, and permitting and studies and exploration
And all
at
the rest.
other projects. Anyway, very.
What do you read into that, Al? Business development. You rarely see that in a use of funds. Sometimes you see evaluation of corporate opportunities, which means we're looking at M&A. But business development, what does that mean?
Yeah, I mean it's just and the guys often feature this little screen grab which we'll show here of, well, where does Tabba actually sit in the context of the Pilbara? You can see MinRes is 50% androgynous around 90 k's away. It's about 50 k's from Pilbara's Pilgangoora mine, and even you can't quite see it on this map, but around 200 kilometres away from Azila's Andover project, which MinRes and Christina have a bit of a tie-up in there with SQM. So will we see another Andover-style lithium menage a trois?
Well, you look at what's happening up that way. That area is, God, it's starting to pump a few deposits. You originally had Wodgina and Pilgangoora. Now you got Andover coming. That's pretty well progressed towards their maiden mineral resource. You got Wildcat bloody in the scheme now. What a hub of lithium projects that is becoming. But will Pilgangoora become part of that hub under the umbrella?
Who knows? It's just everyone seems to be throwing their weight into this discussion. Very, very exciting stuff.
What do you think?
There's some sort of tie-up's got to be happening there, surely.
Yeah, I don't know, mate. I don't know. I feel like you get told a million different things and they all conflict with each other. And it's kind of hard to decipher what's real and what's not. What do you think?
Oh, well, based on word on the decline. but it does make sense that whole region, that's a bit of a lithium hub, but it's in and around all the iron ore as well in the Pilbara and the big majors up there. So probably a long term thing that all of this would be under the umbrella
One
of
umbrella.
someone like a Rio Tinto or something, like well into the future. So anyway, the podcast will be still going to validate that in the future. Should be still going.
Hopefully.
We're making money now, so me and Trav are best mates. I could do this with you forever, Trav. Yeah, any other takeaways?
Well, I think, look, they raised a huge chunk of money at near all-time share price highs for Wildcat, and they're throwing the kitchen sink and bloody everything else at uncovering what is the full extent and potential at Tabba Tabba. So Wildcat team, I tip my hat off to you. Well done. But also, as you know, I love fun project and prospect names. So I'm waiting to hear when you guys find some more ones like a Sabre or a Vader or a Yoda or something like that. I'm looking forward to that too.
Sabre, as in the actual Sabre that's up there. No, there is actually a Sabre.
Oh, there is a Sabre.
There's a Sabre Resources next 5Ks from
Oh,
Andover.
Sabre Resources. No, I'm talking lightsaber.
Oh, lightsaber. Right, love your work, guys. Next up, SYA. Sayona. God, these are dreaded words to read sometimes. Strategic review and operational update.
What was our takeaway on the phrase?
Is there ever a real good one of them that comes out?
Not really.
No.
Maybe if the strategic review was in relation to your non-core project and you sold it for a lot of money, but no.
No.
Oh, mate, the big strategic review word, like that phrase, I think we even used that in our Deciphering Quarterly sort of series. To the translation for strategic review is sale process. I actually think it's not in this case, which is the exception, not the rule. And there's also a bit of déjà vu to this story, which I'll get to shortly.
I appreciate when you wrote déjà vu there, you used the accents on the letters there. Was that automated?
Absolutely autocorrected.
There you go. Very French, Ricardinho.
But like, regardless if it's when it's used to the sale process or not, it's certainly an admission that operations are not like going or performing as hoped. And in this case, we see Sayona's interim CEO and board. They visited NEL, the North American Lithium Project, and they've approved a 5-pillar strategy, which is consulting jargon for we're trying to fix this shit.
Straight out of McKinsey, that one.
Let's look at the key takeaways from this update from Sayona today. On the operations front, here's a phrase for you. Strong focus on cost management and resolving process limitations. So I'll put the cost management piece aside for the moment and focus on the process limitations. What are they? One, they talk about throughput being bottlenecked by the crushing circuit. And secondly, there's also some commentary in there about optimizing recoveries. And here's the déjà vu piece of the story. Back in 2014, when this operation was owned by RB Energy and they were experiencing commissioning issues during ramp up, what did they talk about? Improving recoveries and debottlenecking volumes.
So that must be I don't know if that must be a rock hardness issue. Like if the crushing is the bottleneck.
Put this whole story aside. Put this whole story aside, right, and talk about in general when like you have an operation that might even have a geology issue. What do you talk about? You never talk about the geology issue. You talk about optimizing recoveries and debottlenecking production. They're the two levers you can talk about that give you hope. So,
that you've got control over.
Exactly. So just that's like a side comment, potentially not related to Sayona, but quite often when you have people talk about pulling those two levers, is actually a geology issue as well. You can't say that though. Back to Sayona. So in RB Energy's case, right? I'll flash the announcement up. You can see there, highlighted production through the processing plant is now focused on improving recoveries and increasing volumes towards achieving commercial production levels. A month after that, RB Energy hired SGS to conduct an independent technical review, which highlighted no fatal flaws. Side comment on this one: I do not understand how a technical review can be independent when the company is paying your bill. Just my 2 cents.
So pretty much every report is never independent.
In everyone there's like an independent technical report. If it's commissioned by a third party, like a financier, and they're trying to figure out whether or not to invest in it, that's independent.
That's independent.
But if it's commissioned by the company who own the assets that they're riding on, that is, in my opinion, not independent.
Yeah, I agree.
That's a side point. A month after that, it was put on care and maintenance and ultimately ended up in receivership back then. This was 2014. Investors, I'm looking at this Sayona announcement today, and investors, they're still waiting on 2 deliverables that have been promised for a long time. One, they talk about this board renewal still being ongoing. So they're still searching for an independent chairperson and an additional independent director. I don't think in my head that there's too much shortage of people who are looking for non-exec directorships out there. There's plenty of people want them, right?
I know someone.
Yeah.
Sayona, give us a buzz.
But like there is like so think about it, right? Because there's heaps of people want that sort of stuff, and plenty of credible people want more non-exec directorships. So like when it takes you quite a long time to plug these kinds of roles, and they've been talking about wanting to add more independent directors for a long time. When it takes you so long to plug them, like what does that actually say? You got to ask the question, why aren't credible people jumping for the opportunity to join as a non-exec director at the company? The other one is that they've talked about for a long time as a deliverable is getting an offtake partner, because they've got 50% of, up to 50% of the supply that's not contracted. They always kind of talked about new offtake partner, and nothing ever happens, but there's always talks are still ongoing. And so I feel like it's one of those things that sort of dangled to shareholders forever and hasn't happened. And again, the question I have is why? Just like bringing it back to big picture, though, I would say, let's just talk about the stuff that actually matters here. It's a project that has a reputation and history of being incredibly challenging. They have an offtake agreement with Piedmont that sees Piedmont, and I'm going to use Anthony Kavanagh's words here, that sees Piedmont extract all the economic rent from the NAL project. There's no guidance in the latest updates on timelines for the potential development of Moblin. Key exec jumped ship at the most critical point for the company, free to do whatever they want with the shares that they own without disclosure requirements. And getting independent directors to come on board the company seems to be a challenge, just based on the amount of times it's been talked about, but lack of filling those positions to the point where they're full.
Right, JC, we're utilising your presence today for a bit of rapid fire.
So
we don't do too much internal rapid fire. I'm looking forward to this.
So this was one from actually earlier in the week. So Orecorp, ticker ORR. So we had the Tanzanian Fair Competition Commission approve the Orecorp and Silvercorp merger transaction. So just a reminder for the money miners, Orecorp has the Nyanzaga Gold Project in Tanzania, and in August earlier this year they signed a binding scheme implementation deed with Silvercorp where they would be acquiring Orecorp at around 60 Aussie cents per share, a combination of cash and shares at about a 30 to 40% premium to various prices. So the scheme booklet was dispatched yesterday, scheme meetings on the 8th of December, and independent expert BDO's given it the transaction the okay, saying it's all fair and reasonable. And that Tanzanian government approval is the only government type approval that's required now. It's really just the scheme and the shareholder meeting, and it's all be done and dusted by Christmas. So well done, Orecorp.
But I think that's they did have a bit of a, I think long term they it didn't really live up to investor expectations, did it? Over the long term, they were up near 90, 80 cents. So,
it certainly has come off a little bit, but I think probably net good outcome for shareholders there. But yeah, it certainly has come off from its bigger highs. And then Southern Cross Gold, Trav.
Mate, yeah, I saw this one pop up, Matty. I know it's in your wheelhouse, but today Southern Cross Gold came out 20 metres at 62.7 grams per tonne. 2 weeks ago they had that 331 metre at 6.8 grams per tonne hit. Victorian goldfield story. Everyone wants to be the next Fosterville, right? And you took a look at the ore body a few weeks ago. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, well, it's gold and antimony, so it's like a concentrate jobby, similar to what we talked about with Calidus's blue spec. So it'd be like gold doré bars coming out of a gravity, and then you'd have a gold antimony rich concentrate selling. But look, like 331 metres at 6.8 grams. It's not one thick bloody continuous unit. It looks very like numerous lenses. But look, if the grade's there, it just depends on getting a better understanding of the ore body. It's one of those. What do you see it as? It's like you can talk about the practicalities of mining it, but that is not the investment case right now. The investment case is resource definition and things
Building
like
it out.
that. So it's like you can talk about how hard it's going to be to mine it, but that's a problem could be bloody 5 or 10 years away in Victoria. Who knows? So you can really. My natural tendency is to get into the weeds of the stopes will be like this, yada yada. But it's not today's problem really.
No.
So, but it's it's definitely getting a lot of attention. So
We had one of the-
but when it's just that hit looks great, but it's not a 331 continuous unit that you can bloody block cave. It's all
You hit a few nuggety bits along the way.
and it depends how. I'll bring up a cross section of it. So it depends how close they are. Like if they're like say 10 or 15 metres away, the veins, like 10 metres probably, you can mine them independently because
Yes.
it's all to do with the pillar between the excavations. Whereas if it's two veins bloody 5 metres away,
You have to bulk it.
you have to take it as one, which will like half or quarter your grade. But obviously if it's saying that it's that over that distance, obviously those lenses are
Full of a lot of gold.
very high grade
Yeah.
lenses. And even though the antimony is a problem because you can't, it locks up the gold and it's doesn't respond to cyanide leaching treatment, but you do get the kicker from the antimony and the concentrate. So thumb suck sort of works out the same, I think.
And
Net,
that
yeah.
drill core would be bloody worth a bit.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
That's a good idea. Maybe we should go. Yeah. Anyway,
one of the money
don't
mine-
steal drill core, anyone. Yeah. It's illegal.
One of the money miners mentioned this stock to us when we were in the pub the other week on a Friday. Arvo came up to us and was like, "Well, what do you think of this one?" And I think one thing that they hadn't picked up on straight away was that the market cap on ComSec is not the appropriate market cap to use when you're thinking about the company, because they've got a bunch of escrowed shares that aren't yet quoted. When you add them in, it's about $180 million market cap at the moment.
Yeah, and I think they've only got 40 or 50% of the deposit. The other 50% of the actual deposit's owned by a TSX listed company. Southern Cross doesn't own the full
full
deposit.
thing.
They
Yeah.
own half of it. So I think eventually it'll be whether it's a JV or a merger between those two companies.
Very good. And one I threw in there, I had no idea who this company was until this morning. Impact Minerals, IPT, on the ASX. They released their scoping study on the Lake Hope High Purity Alumina project in WA. And I think I only got as far as page 2 because I just had to laugh. Trav, do you think, I will throw the screen grab up on, is this the new Robust? So I'll read the headline. Outstanding economics show Lake Hope to potentially be the lowest cost producer of high purity alumina globally by up to 50%. Impact Minerals is pleased to announce the positive results of a scoping study based on realistic production and capital expenditure estimates.
I like it.
Realistic.
I really like they're just. I think they're really honing in that it's bloody. I think they're fans of the show.
They must be.
I think everyone is figuring out how to word announcements so they don't get a poor mention.
Or they're getting a lot of guidance from ASX to not be so superlative, and they're just adding a lot of doubt into the forecasts because
sensationalising
it gives you some defensibility. So
yeah, because Impact had I think that it was for their copper exploration in New South Wales. They got the exploration grant from BHP.
Yeah, that's
a year or
right.
so ago. So that was the only reason I knew about them. Yeah.
And then I thought, geez, if that's how they're starting, surely there might be some good stuff on the second page. So in the scoping study highlights, we've got a few bits highlighted there. But my favourite sentence is, this scoping study indicates that, as far as Impact can ascertain for published data, the Lake Hope project could be one of, if not the lowest cost producer of HPA globally, possibly by a significant margin of up to 50%.
there's a lot of doubt in these sentences, isn't there, Ali?
I feel like they're a bit scared to say. Like, I'm not sure how to interpret it, but I thought this is just, I thought I had to chuck it in the rapid fire. It's funny.
just keep typing words and something it'll look
Hope
flash.
for the best, yeah.
Yeah, it was all good until there was podcasts that actually highlighted.
Yeah.
Took screenshots and highlighted them. They're beauty. Thanks very much,
That's
Ali,
rapid
for joining us on this side of the desk, mate. It's always great to have you on.
Pleasure.
Brilliant.
Loved it.
and it just doesn't it add a dynamic, Trav?
Man, I love it. I love it. Actually, it makes us buddy feel smarter, or look smarter. That's for sure.
Or look dumber? No, feel dumber, look smarter. Yeah, makes us feel
Something
dumber
like
and look smarter. There. Beauty. Righto, Money
Very
Miners,
good.
that'll do. Thanks to all the partners. I'm going to do them the other way today to mix it up. Future-proof consulting. Brooks Airways at the top of the show. McMahon Mining Title Services, MMTS. KCA Site Services. SMEC Power and Technology. K-Drill. JP Search, Anytime Exploration Services, and of course, Terra Capital. I like doing it in that voice. Righto, Money Miners. Hootaroo. Any administrative announcements?
I don't think so.
I think you guys covered it all earlier this week.
We've got no hats left. There's no tickets left.
Everything's sold out, gone.
And
Oh,
that's
we're
it.
on Cameo.
We're on Cameo.
You guys did your first Cameo yesterday. That
We
was
did
super impressive.
We did our first Cameo. It was bloody
It's okay,
great.
Trav.
It's okay, Trav. You don't have to go and have a shower. But as I said, Money Miners, there is a special demand for JD to do solo ones for $150 if you do.
Keep harassing him in his DMs to do one.
Great for Christmas presents. He loves it. Righto, Money Miners. Hootaroo.
Hootaroo.
The information contained in this episode of Money of Mine is of general nature only and does not take into account the objectives, financial situation or needs of any particular person. Before making any investment decision, you should consult with your financial advisor and consider how appropriate the advice is to your objectives, financial situation and needs.